So what makes the best investment property? A house or a flat? And what are the pros and cons for each? Hi, my name is Tony Law from Your First Four Houses, and I teach people how to build a small property portfolio that generates a great income for them so they can give up the day job if they wish, because they're now financially free. If this is your first time here, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click that bell notification icon so that you don't miss out on any of the free content that I give you each and every week. So which should you be investing in, houses or flats? Well, today I want to look at the pros and cons for each, and let's start off with the pros for flats. First, the really obvious one. Flats are going to be generally cheaper, aren't they? And so if you've got a little bit of cash to invest, could you perhaps buy more than one? Again, generally speaking, a flat will give you a higher return on investment or yield, although you must always do the numbers yourself, and I would strongly suggest you calculate the return on investment on that flat and then compare it to other types of properties in that area. With some one-bed flats that have maybe a bigger lounge kind of area, could you maybe add a bedroom by bringing the kitchen into the lounge space and then turning what was the kitchen into bedroom 2? You don't need to directly get involved with any building maintenance on a flat, do you? The cost of maintaining the building is shared, and the freeholder or the managing agent will typically organise all of that work for you. Short leases or an absent freeholder can mean the property is unmortgageable. So where's the pro in that? Well, this is a real opportunity for you potentially to get a fantastic bargain. And if you know what you're doing, you can then fix that problem. Flats can make ideal year-round serviced accommodation in some areas, especially I would suggest one-bedroom flats, which can obviously appeal to professional people. So what about the cons for flats? Because there are a few. Well, often you can't add value in the same way that you can with a house. For example, with a flat, you can't generally extend it, can you? You can't generally go up into the loft and add a bedroom. You can't generally build a conservatory on the back of a flat, can you? Etc. Some flats can have high service charges and ground rents, and these can really eat into your profits. It can, in some instances, be harder to finance some flats. For example, if the lease is less than 80 years, or over some types of shops, or over a food outlet, for example, or indeed over a certain level in a block of flats, etc. The value of the flat can drop significantly once the lease goes below 70 years, and you may need to actually extend that lease. Although that is possible, and there's a lot to that, and I can share more of that maybe in another video. You may not be able to convert that flat into an HMO if this is something that you want to do, which, as you may already be fully aware, can dramatically increase the amount of cash flow that you get from that flat. High-rise flats attract slower capital growth, generally speaking, plus council high-rise blocks are often unmortgageable. By the way, if you're finding this video helpful, I would love it if you could take a moment just to click on that like button down there. It really helps me if that's okay. So what about the pros for houses? Well, first of all, finance for single family units is more readily available. Lenders generally see houses as a lower risk. They can attract longer term tenants who won't uproot after 6 to 12 months and are more often likely to maintain, or indeed want to maintain, the property themselves. I would suggest there's more potential, again generally speaking, for long-term capital growth in some areas. There's certainly far greater potential to add value. For example, you might be able to extend, you might be able to add that loft conversion, you might be able to convert that garage into some kind of living space, or indeed convert the whole building into flats, or maybe build in the garden, etc, etc, etc. Generally speaking, there's no high service charges or issues with common areas not being maintained. Whether you're renting or ultimately looking to sell, a house will always have a larger appeal, won't it? Generally, houses are going to be of appeal to first-time buyers, to couples, to families with children, to retired people, and obviously investors as well. So what about the cons involved in houses? Well, typically, you're obviously going to be looking at a higher investment, aren't you? For example, the size of the deposit that you're going to have to put in, the stamp duty that you're going to have to pay. Perish the thought. Interest charges are obviously going to eat into that as well. There's potential for more frequent maintenance and repair bills, as there's obviously a bigger square footage, again, generally speaking. Plus, obviously, you're not just maintaining the inside of a flat in this scenario, you're maintaining the whole building, including the outside as well. Because of the lower yield, you may be looking potentially at a lower cash flow. A house can sometimes be more likely to be vandalised if empty. Sadly, I've had that. You're going to get more wear and tear if families are involved. If you've got families with young children, for example, generally speaking, there's going to be more wear and tear there. And in some cases, you may even be responsible for garden maintenance, although I appreciate in not all cases is that going to be the case. So the question is, which should you buy? Well, the truth is, I'm going to have to cop out slightly here because it completely depends on the funding that you have, on the area that you're looking to invest in or the area that you live in, on the supply and demand in that area. But above all, it's going to really depend on your strategy, the strategy that you're wanting to follow. What do you want to achieve over the longer term? So can I make a suggestion here? Why don't you book a strategy phone call with me? I'll put the link here. Just click on that and you can book a strategy call, and I'm sure I can probably help you narrow down exactly what your strategy should be. Have you checked out my completely free online property mini course that's going to teach you how to build a small property portfolio that generates a great income for you, but without needing to put in big deposits? Simply click the link here to find out more.